ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्ते भेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवतौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारम् प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। नत्वा श्रीभारती तीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरौ
नत्वा
नत्वा
श्रीभारती
श्रीभारती
तीर्थ
तीर्थ विद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरौ
विद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरो
अधीमगे पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
अधीमहे
पञ्चदशीं
पञ्चदशीं
कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
कैवल्यपदसिद्धये
We have completed the Viveka Prakaranam, the last class, and now begins the Chitra Deepa Prakaranam, Shashta Prakaranam, Chitra Deepa Prakaranam. Before we see the Chitra Deepa Prakaranam, let us have a summary of the first 5 Prakaranam, which is called Viveka Prakaranam, Tava Viveka Panchakam. The 5 chapters, the first 5 chapters are called Viveka Prakaranam or Viveka Panchakam. The next 5 chapters, 6th chapter to 10th chapter, Deepa Prakaranam, Deepa Panchakam. From 11th chapter to 15th chapter, Ananda Prakaranam, Ananda Panchakam. Viveka Prakaranam Samapta. Viveka summary. See, first chapter Tattva Viveka Prakaranam, second chapter Mahabhuta Viveka Prakaranam, third chapter Panchadasi Viveka Prakaranam, fourth chapter Dvaita Viveka Prakaranam, the last chapter Viveka Prakaranam, which we saw, Mahavadya Viveka Prakaranam, Jiva Lagu Prakaranam, only 8 shlokas. First chapter Tattva Viveka Prakaranam begins with where in this chapter, as the name suggests, Tattva Viveka. So the author Vidyaranya Muni, he establishes that Atma is Sat Chit Anandaha by Yukti. Shabdasparshadayo Vidyaha. Shabdasparshadayo Vidyaha iti. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all these are different from one another. Sense objects are referred to by Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and the sense objects are objectified by the sense organs. 5 sense objects and therefore 5 sense objects. Sense objects are different from one another. Therefore, the sense organs which objectify the sense objects, they are also different from one another. The eyes objectify color, the forms. Ears objectify the sound. The tongue objectifies the taste. Nose objectifies the smell, the touch, the skin. Vagindriya objectifies the sparsha. So each sense organs, they play different role, different from one another. But the Chaitanyam, by the Chaitanyam, that objectifies, sense objects are objectified. Sense objects are objectified. The objectifier is sense organs. The sense organs are also objectified. The one which objectifies the sense organs, 5 different sense organs, the sense organs which are different from one another, they are objectified by Chaitanyam. The Chaitanyam do not differ, na vidyate, sambit eka na vidyate. The Chaitanyam do not differ. Shotrasya shotram, manaso manoyata, vacho vivacham. Yena shunoti, yena jigrati, yena vyakaroti, yena pashyati, yena everything, yena Chaitanyena, as we saw before. The Mahavakya Viveka, the first shloka. But the Chaitanyam do not differ, doesn't differ. All the objects of knowledge, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, they vary by Chitriyam. But the Chaitanyam doesn't differ. This is in the Jagrat Avastha. Samvita Ekana Vidyate. What about in the Swapna Avastha? Swapne Api. The dream state also, the dream body has got sense organs. The sense organs objectify different sense objects. Sense organs are different from one another. They objectify different sense organs, but Chaitanyam is only one. Eka Samvita na vidyate. Chaitanyam doesn't differ. Therefore, Chaitanyam in the Jagrat Avastha and in the Swapna Avastha, doesn't vary. But that Chaitanyam which is the Jagrata Avastha is the Chaitanyam which is in the Sapna Avastha also, and that doesn't vary. What about in Sushupti Avastha, where the objects are in tamas, complete darkness? That also illumined by Chaitanya. How do you know it is dark? Or that also illumined by Chaitanya alone. That dark ignorance that you recall after you wake up. Therefore, Chaitanyam being common in all the avastha, it doesn't vary. Chaitanyam which connects all the avasthas, waker is connected to the dreamer by the Chaitanyam. The Chaitanyam doesn't undergo any change. This Chaitanyam which connects all the avasthas, which is there in and through all the avasthas, that doesn't vary. It is present in all the avasthas. Chaitanyam is present. Today it is there. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow also it is there. Yesterday. What about the next month? Next year? Kalpa. Asabda Yuga Kalpeshu. It is there. Same Chaitanyam. In Balyavastha, Yuvavastha, Vriddhavastha, Chaitanyam continues to be the same, non-changing. The Chaitanyam, Pambita Yesha, Swayam Prabha, it is Satchit Anandaha. It is Sat, it is Chit, and it is Ananda. The Ananda, why it is called Ananda? Because it is the object of Paraprema's Padam, Paraprema Padas, Padas, Padam, Taha, Atma, Anandaha. This Chaitanyam, if it is known to me because it is the Paraprema's Padam, then there will not be desire for any objects of the world because it is the utmost desire. Therefore, it is not known to me. At the same time, it is not that it is not known to me also. So I don't know that and the Atma. At the same time, it is Parapremaspad. If it is known, then there will not be samsara, there will not be any pursuit, any purushartha, binding purushartha. There will not, I will not be working for any purushartha. That itself shows I work for artha, kama, dharma. So that itself shows that I do not know this Chaitanyam as it is. It is known at the same time, not known. If known, there will not be binding. If not known, then that cannot be Parapremaspad. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. So that Atma is what is Parapremaspad. Yam Atma Paranandaha. So Parapremaspad. Taha manabhavam hi bhuyasan. Hi prema Atma ikshyate. Therefore, what is the cause for this? This avidya, that is not known, that as it is. It is partially known and partially unknown. It is avidya. It is because of maya. The author says, Acharya says, maya. Then he picks up discussion on maya. Maya is Trigunatmika maya. Sattva pradhana, Tamah pradhana, and Rajas, Rajo, Rajaha, Rajas pradhana. Sattva pradhana, Sattva pradhana becomes the upadhi for Ishvara. And Rajat Pradana, it becomes upadhi for Jiva. And Tala Pradana is upadhi for this Jagat. Because Ishvara is Sattva Pradana. Therefore Ishvara is Sattva Pradana. Tvat Sarvajnaha Sattva Pradana. Therefore Ishvara is Sarvajnaha. And Tala Pradana, this Jagat is Upadana Karana. And being Sattva Pradana, Ishvara doesn't have Avarana. Being Sattva Pradana, Ishvara doesn't have Avarana. Being Rajat Pradana, Jiva has got Avaranam. More Rajas Sattva Guna Prakriti Pithachasa. Three Gunas. Turunatmika Maya. Therefore, since Avaranam is there for Jiva, therefore Jivaha Samsaraha. Ishvaraha is Mayami. Maya Gundho Vashikritya Tam Syat Sarvajnaha Ishvaraha. What about Jiva? Avidya Vashaha to Anyaha Vaichikreta Satriyat Anekada. So Jivaha is Samsari. Jivaha is Samsari and Samsara is due to Avaranam. Okay, then that is Avaranam. Jivaha is under Avaranam. What is the sadhanam for gaining moksha? I'm not discussing all the points, all the shlokas, not possible. Then finally, Vidyaranya, he says, sadhanam is sadhanatrayam. Sadhanatrayam is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So the Jiva is under Avarana, it is clear. Avidya is there, therefore Avidya Nivrittihi eva mokshaha. And Atma, that is myself, is Paraparamaspatam, that I don't know, that is due to Avaranam, therefore Avarana Nivrittihi sadhanani, ekshitani, and therefore sadhanam is this sadhana trayam in the form of Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasam, that is the sadhanam. Shravanam is exposing oneself to Shastra Pramana. Without Pramana, the knowledge cannot be gained. Any knowledge of any object is possible only through Pramana. Therefore, Shastram being the Pramanam for ascertaining the truth of this, ascertaining the truth of Jiva, which is Brahma, and which is Jagat Karana, not different from Ishvara. That alone will remove avidya and therefore samsara, therefore Shastram. Therefore Shastram is important. Shastram, without Shastram, samsara, that is jnanam, and therefore samsara nivritti is not possible. The purpose of Shastram is only to remove the ajnana. Ajnana nivrittaye Shastram. Doesn't produce new knowledge, because unlike in other cases, other pramana, where the pramanam produces a new knowledge. Whereas here, it's already known, but not known clearly due to avidya. So avidya nivritti. Avidya nivrittaye eva Shastra. And therefore, in Shravanam, one is exposed to Shastra Pramanam and arrive at the Tatparyam of the Shastra. Ascertaining the Shastra, the Tatparyam of the Shastra, by Shadlinga, Vakrama, Prasamhara, Abhyaso, Purvata, Artavaro, Patishya, Lingam Tatpari Nirnaya. So arrive at the Tatparyam of the Shastra. The Tatparyam of the Shastram is Jiva Brahma Aikyam. When Shastram, that is Shravanam, the Shravanam alone is sufficient. But for Adhigaris, as the Adhigaris are at different levels, therefore for Uttam Adhigari, Shravanam is sufficient. For other Adhigaris, for Mananam, why Mananam is required? Because Pratyaksha Pramanam reveals Dvaitam. Shastra Pramanam reveals Advaita. Since both the Pramanams are powerful, if Dvaitam is Satyam, then the problems which arises from Dvaitam, that is also Satyam. Therefore, Samsara is Satyam. The problem of Samsara is Satyam. If problem is Satyam, Samsara is Satyam, then there would be Anir Moksha Prasanga. There cannot be Moksha. Dvaitam is Satyam, then no Moksha is possible. Therefore, because it is Satyam, that which is Satyam cannot be negated. Satyasya na nivrittihi. Therefore, if at all if the Satyam, the Dvaitam which is real goes away, and Moksha comes, which is Satyam again, the Satya Moksha also will go away. Because if Satya Dvaitam goes away by arrival of the Satya Moksha, the Satya Moksha also will go away. Therefore, there cannot be real, there cannot be Satya Dvaitam. Therefore, we cannot go by Pratyaksha, even though Pratyaksha is powerful Pramana. But scope of Pratyaksha and Shastra are different. They do not overlap at all. They do not cross the boundary. Therefore, Shastram is not Pramana for what Pratyaksha, where Pratyaksha is applicable. Pratyaksha is valid for Vyavaharika reality. Shastra for Paramarthika. Therefore, they do not cross the boundaries. Therefore, Pratyaksha is very powerful. Therefore, let us use Pratyaksha Pramanam and arrive at the truth. That doesn't work. Pratyaksha is powerful, doesn't hold water. Because the scope of Pramanams are different. And therefore, there is no virodha between Pratyaksha and Shastra. Therefore, this has to be ascertained in Mananam. For Pramana Shanka, similarly with Prameya Shanka also. That is arrived by Mananam. No conflict between Pratyaksha and Shastra. That is, also Shastra is not scientific. Science is not a subject matter of Shastra. Science comes under the subject matter of Pratyaksha and Anumana. Since Pratyaksha and Anumana, all these operate under different spheres, that area of operation is different. The Shastra area of operation is different. Therefore, where Pratyaksha is applicable, where we cannot apply Shastra, Shastra has got nothing to do. Similarly, where Shastra is the Pramanam, that Pratyaksha has got no role to play. So that is clear knowledge with regard to Pramanam and what the Pramanam reveals, the object of knowledge. The doubts with regard to that, the vagueness is cleared by Mananam. Then comes the Nididhyasanam. Dhyasam, that was last part of the first chapter. For the Nididhyasanam, to gain Nishta, one has to lead a life of alertness. Nididhyasanam for getting Nishta in this jnana. Agankara is Mithya. The Shariram is Mithya. Indriyani Mithya. Sakshi is Satya. So being alert to this fact is Nididhyasanam, and Here the Vidhyaranya Muni, he talks about Samadhi Abhyasa. After gaining Jnana, one can do Samadhi Abhyasa, where sadhaka resolves the duality. Samadhi Abhyasa, Rupa Nididhyasanam, that is after Jnana. Nididhyasanam can be, as we saw before, in Vedanta Sara. Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam or Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam can be either in the form of Samadhi, is that after having gained knowledge, the sadhaka meditates on the truth, what the Shastra reveals, Madhyabhyasa, and the Mahavakya. Brahmabhyasa, Upadhyasana, that is in the form of Shravanam, listening to the Shastra. Punah Shravanam is Brahmabhyasa Rupa Vidyasanam. Here in the Muni talks about Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. With that, the first chapter is included. Then the second chapter, first chapter, Viveka Deepa Bhakti. Then the second chapter, which is Mahabhuta Viveka, Rakaranam begins. So as the name suggests, it is the Viveka of the Pancha Mahabhuta. Viveka from what? From Sat, from Brahma. Therefore, the objective is to know or to distinctly know Brahma from the Pancha Mahabhuta. Distinctly from Pancha Mahabhuta. That's why it's called Pancha Mahavivek, Pancha Bhuta Mahabhuta Viveka Prataya. It is not for knowing the Bhuta, it is not for knowing Sat Brahma. So understanding them distinctly, Mahabhuta Viveka Prataya. And Acharya here introduces Brahma as a Jagat Karanam. And the Vakya, what he takes for Vichara is Sadeva Somyedamagra Asit Ekameva Titiyam. That is the Vakya he takes for Vichara. The Vakya of Chandogya Upanishad. Then Idam Shabda is there in the Vakyam. That the Acharya he elaborates what is this Idam Shabda. The word Idam Shabda covers everything that it is objectifiable. Everything it is objectifiable is Idam. Therefore, Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, they are objectifiable. Therefore, Idam. The sound of Akasha, that is objectifiable, Idam. Sparsha of Vayu, objectifiable, therefore, Idam. Similarly, all the other sense organs, all the sense objects. Vayu has got two gunas, Shabda and Sparsha. Akasha has got one guna, only Shabda. Agni has got three gunas. Vayu has got four. Prithvi has got five. Prithvi has got all the, starting from Akasha up to Prithvi, all the five gunas are there. All these gunas are sense objects, all the sense objects are objectifiable and the sense organs objectify it. All are Idam. Therefore, all are Idam. And sense organs, that is also Idam. So sense organ is there to objectify. Because the sense objects are known, therefore sense organs are there, we can infer. And all the other activities like Gamanam, moving, etc., that also the sense organs of action, Karmendriyani. So Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani, that is all, they are also Idam. Everything Idam. Therefore, sense objects, then sense organs, Jnanendriyani, the sense organs of knowledge and karmendriyani, antakaranam, the mind, backed up by mind only sense organs, objectify, all are classified as idam shabdartha. So idam asit, idam kada asit, so the whole sharira manasangata, that can be extended to the entire jagat. Idam asit, kada asit, katam asit, kada asit, pura asit, katam asit, sadatmana asit, was in the form of sat, pura, agre, asit, satrupena. Satpura means before. Before means it indicates time. There is time before creation. Time is part of creation. Time is yet to be created. So therefore, agre means talked about pre-srishti, pre-creation. Where all these words are used, these words are all used because these words cannot be, there is no time. Because the student has got the vasana of kala. So kala vasanaya uttaha jishyaha. Therefore, all these words have to be used. All these words have got no meaning. Pura has got no meaning at all. The Satya, which is free from Veda Traya Kala, free from the three periods of time. Vartamana, Bhuta, Bhavishya, there is no time. Sat eva asit. Since we present Sat from the standpoint of the Jagat, therefore we say Pura. So it is Kala Titaha, Kalat Atitaha. It is not bound by time, that is why Nityaha. What about objects? Bound by objects. It is the Vakya, Sadeva Somya Idam Asit, Ekam Eva Advitiyam. That Veda Trayam also is negated. That is Sajatiya, Jatiya, Swagata, Veda. That also not there. That is indicated by the Vakya Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Ekam Eva Advitiyam. That Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Only there is Sat. All the Veda Traya, Swagata, Veda, Vijati Veda, Sajati Vedas are not there. Therefore, Sat is Ekameva Dviti. How these three words, that is, Ekam Eva Advitiyam, Aikyam Avadharanam Dvaita Nishedam. Nishedatam, these three words. Aikyam is referred to by the word Ekam. Eka negates Swagata Veda. The Avadharana, which is referred to by the word Evakara, Eva. And Dvaita Pratisheda by Adviti. This chapter only we saw that the three types of Vedas are introduced. Vrikshasya Sagato Vedaha. Vrikshasya Sagato Vedaha Patra Pushpa Paladibihi. Vrikshantara Sajatiyo Vijatiya Shiraditaha. What are these three Vedas Acharya defined? Ksha has got branches, it has got roots, secondary roots, leaves, fruits. So many parts are there. Therefore, it has got internal differences. Patra Pushpa Paladibihi. Amra Vriksha is there. Amra Vriksha has got Patra, Pula, Pushpa Paladibihi. Therefore, Sagata Veda. And another Amra Vriksha is there. Sajatiya Veda. There are so many different types of Amra Vriksha. Not only Amravruksha, other trees are there. So many other different varieties of tree. Vijatiya Veda. Or you can take Shiladitaha, Shila, etc. If trees, if you take belong to the same species. What about Shila, stone, etc.? They are different. Vijatiya Veda. So the Veda means any difference means change. Change happens. And change leads to sorrow. Therefore, if there is any vastu which undergoes any difference, there will be sorrow. That is why change is change is not acceptable. We don't. That is because change brings sorrow. Therefore, we are looking for that which doesn't undergo any change. Is there any vastu which is free from all these change differences? That is Chaitanyam. It doesn't have Sajatiya Veda. It doesn't have Bhagata Veda, Sajatiya Veda, or Vijatiya Veda. These Veda frame are not there. This is what indicated by Ekam Eva Advitiyam. So Eva in the Vakya, Avadharana Shabda negates Sajatiya Veda. And Vijatiya Veda is, there is no another Brahma Chaitanya. There is only one Brahma Chaitanya, that is Advitiyam Dharma. So, and it is Ekam, there is only one Brahma. The first Svagata Veda, Sajatiya Veda, Vijatiya Veda, all these Vedas are dismissed. That is the Vakya, the Acharya explains. Therefore, that is Sat Brahma Pura Asi. Then the Acharya in this chapter, then he introduces Maya. Maya is the Shakti, without which Brahma cannot create. Without Maya, this Kamarupa Jagat Srishti is not possible. And what is a Pramanam for Maya? Shruti alone is a Pramanam for Maya. And Shveta Shvataropanishad says Maya tu Prakriti Vidya, Mayinam tu Maheshwaram. So, therefore, Maya is the Prakriti, Mayina, Mayinam, that is Mayavi is Maheshwara. So, therefore, Acharya applies Shastra Sammata Yukti, Shastra Sammata Yukti, and here Shastra Sammata Yukti, Yukti, the Anumana, is Jagat is the Karyam from the Shastram as Shastram is a Pramana from Maya. By Anumana also we can infer. Acharya here it does Karyalingaka Anumana. The Karya we can infer the Karanam. This Karyatmakam Jagat is there. Jagat is Karya. There must be Karanam. So this Jagat is Karya which has got all the three gunas. And therefore there must be a cause which also must have all the three gunas. That Shakti, Yoganatmika, Shakti Maya. Therefore Maya is the cause for Jagat Srishti. Because Brahma is Nirgunam, it cannot be the cause. Therefore Maya Sagita Brahma is the cause. This is the Anumanam, Karya Lingaka Anumanam. And the Swarupam of this Maya is, the Acharya here says, Vasamanam Asat Iti Mitya Swarupam. It is Sadasat Vinnam, Sadasat Vilakshanam. She introduces Adhyaropa Pavada. Adhyaropa Pavada. On that Sat Brahma, each Bhuta, starting from Akasha, they are superimposed. Tasmad Tasmad Akasha Sambhutaha, Akashat Vayuhu, Vayoragnihi, Agnirapaha. What is there is Sat. And from the Sat, the Akasha is created That is, the Akasha now is Shabda Gunaka Akasha plus Sat. And from that Akasha, Vayu is created. So Vayu Guna is there, then Akasha is there, then Sat. Because Sat is inseparable from all the Bhutas. It is that from Sat everything has come. Akasha. So Akasha is Akasha plus Sat. From Akasha, Vayu is Vayu has its Guna plus Akasha plus Sat. Vayu or Agni, Agni has got Agni Guna plus it has got Guna of Akasha. Agni, it has Guna of Vayu or Agni. What Guna of Akash, Vayu as well as Akasha and then Sat. So therefore, Sat is there, then it is inseparable. Means these do not have separate existence from Sat. Therefore, Agni becomes Asat. That is why Maya is Asat. It is Vasamanam. It is Vasamanam Asat Maya. So what is created, therefore, it doesn't have Satum, because it is Asat. Asat is Mithya. And Mithya is Jagat, which is created as its Ashraya, as its Adhara in Brahma Sat. Brahma, which is Sattvam. Therefore, Maya gives Mithyatvam and Brahma gives Satyatvam. Satyatvam and Mithyatvam. Satyatvam due to Brahma and Mithyatvam Maya. So, all the elements do not have existence separate from Sat. Therefore, they are Mithya. Must be superimposed when we do Pavada. Adhyaropa Pavada Abhyam. Nishprapacham Prapapsate. Therefore, first Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is the form of this Akasha is created from Brahma and from Akasha, Vayu, Agni, iti. We do, and then we do Apavada. Apavada in the form of dismissing the Satyatvam of them, establishing the Mithyatvam. Apavada. So, for what is there is only Satu. In and through all Bhuta Srishti, Bhautika Srishti, Steva Srishti, it is Sat alone, Sat Brahma alone. Where is Pura, where is Paschat? Sat Brahma Eva Asit. Iti Pancha Bhuta Viveka is done. And Acharya at the end finally gives the Palam. What is the Palam? Palam means by this Viveka, that Sat Eva Asti, which doesn't undergo any change. Therefore, what is there is only Sat, which is what Shastra ascertains. Sat Brahma, Tat Brahma Aham Asmi. So that Sat is of Brahma, Sat Brahma. So Sat Astu, Brahma is Satyam. Tadanyata Sarvam Vidya. This is what is the palam of this Viveka. And Acharya, by using a lot of Yukti and Pakshi argument, by that he establishes it's a bigger chapter. So finally, he says, Parashruti, Ma Vedanta Samsiddham Sat, which is Advaitam, Abhadyate, that is the palam, that is a result of this Viveka. Pramana Upparita Vidya, Pramanam Prabalam Vina, Anashyati, Vedanta Prabalam Anashyate. Tasmat Vedanta Samsiddham Sat Advaitam Abhadate, which is Sat, which is Advaita, which is without any second, Abhadyate. Iti Bhuta Vivekat Vriddhi Chita. Intakale So Bhuta Viveka Nivrittisata. Then the third chapter is Panchakosha Viveka Prakarana. Panchakosha Viveka, it is based on the Shruti, that is Taittiriya Upanishad, Ananda Valli of the Chaitanya Upanishad. So Brahma is revealed as Shuddha Chaitanya. The Chit aspect of Brahma is taken for discussion. So with Chitta, we have a common approach towards the Sat, and or Chitta. Previous chapter Sat, Brahma is Sat. Tadeva Somidam Agra Asit, taking the Sambhagya Upanishad Vakyam, Sat Brahma Satyam, iti previous chapter. Now Panchakosha, Kosha is the Jiva. Therefore, by this Viveka, the Chit is arrived at. This Chit is arrived at by Panchakosha Viveka. Here the author is going to establish it is not a part of Anatma. It is not an guna of Atma, attribute of Atma. It is neither the karya of Anatma. And this is applicable to Sat also. With regard to this Nama Rupa Prapancha. Like Chitta, Satta also is same. Therefore, Chit is independent. It is the Satyam. It is ever substantive, not objective. And the Chit pervades the body, not limited by the body. That Chitta, as Sat pervades the Nama Rupa Jagat. Therefore, Chitta also pervades the body, not limited by the walls of the body. The body, in fact, exists in Chitta. Therefore, Anatma exists in Atma Chaitanyam. Chit survives the body. So, by Sat Vichara, we arrive at Sarvagatatvam of Brahma, as well as Mithyatvam of Jagat. So, Brahma is presented as Jagat Karanam, and Sat Vichara is done to ascertain all pervasiveness of Brahma, Sarvavyapitam of Brahma, Sarvavyapakatvam of Brahma, and Mithyatvam of Jagat. So, Mithyatva Siddhaye, Jagataha Mithyatva Siddhaye, Brahmanaha Sarvagatatva Siddhyartam Sadvicharaha Kriyate. And that Sat, Aparokshaya Sat, it is arrived at Aparoksha Siddhyartam Brahmanaha Chit Vichara. Sat is all pervasive, and the Chit Chaitanyam, which is experienced within quote experiences. You are not an object of experience. The Shariram, therefore Chit Vichara. So that Brahma, which is Sat, can be known as Chit in this Shariram. Therefore, Sat is identical with Chit. Brahma is as Aparoksha, will go away when it is known as Chit in this Sharira. That is why Chit. Sat is Sarvagata. Chit is also therefore Sarvagata. As Sat is Aparichinna, Chit is also Aparichinnam. Aparichinnatvam goes away by Sadvichara. Aparokshatvam goes away by Chit Vichara, as we saw before also. So that is the topic here in this chapter. Brahmanaha Shat Lakshanani taken, discussed. Atmanaha Panchakosha Vilakshanatvam, Atma free from 5 koshas. So, Guhayam Nigitam Brahmatma, Sakshi Rupena, Guhayam, Panchaguhayam, Tasmat, Brahmanaha Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayu. So, therefore, Brahma is presented as Atma, and the Satyatvam, Jnana, Ananda, Satyatvam, Jnanam, and Anantatvam are also appreciated while arriving at Atmatvam of Brahma, and that is discussed from the shloka 13 to 28, where Brahma is presented as Atma, Sad Brahma, Tad Brahma, which is Sat, which is Chit, 13 to 28. Nicely Acharya presented Sakshi Rupena Vihayam Vihanigitattvam. So during the discussion, Acharya removes a lot of misconceptions. Swayameva anubhutitvat brahmanaha anubhavyata na vidyate. Acharya says it is anubhuti swarupam. The truth of every anubhuti, every experience is this Brahmatma. Therefore, there is no separate experience required because it is the content of every experience. So therefore, don't look for Brahmanubhava. Looking for Brahmanubhava is waiting eternally for moksha. Moksha is already siddhaha, siddha vishayatva. It is siddhaha. So Atma is aparoksha. For all the time it is there. It is aparoksha anubhava. There is no jnata possible other than Brahma. And therefore no jnanam other than Brahmatma. Therefore it is not known through any kind of experience because it is the experience is because of that which. Therefore, don't look for any anubhava, atma anubhava. Acharya nicely explained with the madhurya, the sugar, jaggery, which has a sweetness. They are naturally sweet. They lend sweetness to everything. It doesn't. Vinyatra, swaguna, arpini, madhurya, etc. They give. But there is no lending of sweetness to itself. Therefore, that is the swabhava of the jaggery, sugar. They are sweet by nature. Similarly, ta अन्यवस्तु नाम अपेक्षा नास्ति. Similarly, the sweet is sugar. Similarly, Atma is of the nature of Jnanam, Anubhuti Swarupam. For no experience of Atma is required because it is already experienced, ever experienced. Every experience is a proof of that. Every experience is a proof of that Atma is. For Atma is of the nature, that Atma is of the nature of Jnanam, Anubhuti Swarupam. Therefore, there is no special experience or any experience possible. Atma is not an object, because of which everything is known. Yena sarvam jnayate anyena tad kena tad vijaniya. The Vakya, that by which everything is known, by what it can be known. Therefore, there is no objectification of all that Acharya discusses very elaborately. The Acharya here dismissed the idea of experiencing Atma. Vinyadaram kena vijaniya. That is the Vakya. So, the knower is the ultimate truth. Who can know the knower? Therefore, Pramana is that. So Pramana we know the Prameya. Pramana can objectify Prameya, but Pramana can it objectify Pramata, even with regard to other Pramana. Pramana is meant for objectifying, is meant for knowing Prameya. Prameya means the object of knowledge. Pramana can objectify object of knowledge, but it cannot objectify the Pramata. Eyes can see the objects and objectify the objects, can know the object's color, form, shape, etc. But eyes cannot know the eyes itself. Similarly, Jnata, who is Atma, is Swayam Jyotihi. Tameva Bhavdam, Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Bhati. Tameva Bhavantam, Tasya Bhasa Idam Jagat, Tasya Bhasa Jagat Bhasyate. Sakshi Rupena Avasthanam Brahma. That Brahma Ahamasmi. Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam, Sarvam Jagat, Idam Jagat Bhasyate. तमेवातम् अनुभाति सर्वम् तस्य भासा जगत् भास्यते. So that which is self-shining, self-existing, self-evident, due to which the entire Jagat is Pasyate, Tasya Bhasa, the shine of which everything is Pasyate. Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarva, Tasya Bhasa Sarvavidam Bhati. So therefore Atma is Swayam Jyoti. Evam Brahma Vede, Vedesha Brahmaiva Bhavati Swayam. Brahmano Nasi Jagan Janmataha Nareshana Jayate. The Acharya concludes. Third chapter, which is Rakaranam, which is Kosha Viveka Prakaranam. Then the fourth chapter, Dvaita Viveka Prakaranam. We recently saw Dvaita Viveka Prakaranam, two types of Dvaitam, Jiva Srishta Dvaitam, Ishvara Srishta Dvaitam. So Jiva Srishta Dvaitam is the cause for samsara. Ishvara Srishta Dvaitam is not the cause for samsara. We have seen Natharat given the beautiful example. Rinmaya Gata. Rinmaya Gata, the Gata which is outside, which is Mrinmaya Gata, becomes Dhimaya Gata inside me, the Buddhi. And that Gata could be Priyavastu, Priyatvam. It becomes Priyavastu for me. The Priyatvam is not created by Ishvara, but it is created by me. Contribution of Ishvara is just Mrinmaya. It is dear to me, it is my contribution. Priyatvam var apriyatvam va arupe peksha. Three things are possible. Either it can become an object of love, or object of hatred, or you are neutral. So, three types of responses. That is Ishvara Srishti. That is Jiva Srishti. So, for every Ishvara Srishti, we have Jiva Srishti. Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, love for that, or hatred, or being neutral. The three responses are there for Jiva. That is Jiva Srishti. For every Ishvara Srishti, there is Jiva Srishti. That is the cause for samsara. Ishakaryam Jiva Bodhya. What is created by Ishvara, that is becomes the Bodhya for Jiva, superimposing the Priyatvam, love for it or hatred for it, and responding to that. His responses are Jiva Srishta. That is the cause for samsara. Then Acharya establishes by Anvaya Vyatireka. So, Vyatireka is Sattva Yat Sattvam Yadabhave Yadabhava. A is, therefore B is. A is not, B is not. Therefore A is a Karanam. So, therefore, Dhimaya, that Vishaya, that Gata is the cause of Jiva Bandhanam. So, when Dhimaya Jagat is there, Sukha Dukkham is there. When Dhimaya Jagat is not there, Sukha Dukkham is not there. So, by that, Ishvara Srishta Jagat is not the cause for samsara. Ishvara Srishta Jagat Asatyapi, like in Swapnada. In Swapna, etc. Ishvara Srishta Jagat is not there, but there is Sukha Dukkha, Samsara Bhavaha Asti. Whereas in Samadhi Avastha, Samadhi Asushupti, Murchadu, Ishvara Srishta Jagat Satyapi, there is no samsara. Samadhi, he experiences happiness. And Ishvara Srishta Jagat is there, samsara is not there. Therefore, the presence or absence of Ishvara Srishti is not the cause for samsara. On the other hand, with Antara Maya Prapancha, that is Jiva Srishta Dvaita, is the cause for samsara. Jiva Srishta Dvaitam, that Antara Prapancha, that Dhimaya Prapancha, That alone is the cause for samsara that Acharya arrived at by beautifully by Anvaya Vatireka, which we discussed separately. So Jiva, therefore, Jiva Srishta Dvaitam Khanam Yaktavyam. And that Jiva Srishta Dvaitam also of two types. Shastriya Dvaitam, Ashastriya Dvaitam. So first is Ashastriya Dvaitam to be given up. Before Vedanta study, Ashastriya Dvaitam to be given up. And then Shastriyam also. Shastriya Dvaitam is given up before study. And by Shastriya Dvaitam, Atma is gained. Atma Jnanam is gained. And after that also it should be given up. So therefore, both the Dvaitams should be given up. And the result is Jivan Muktihi. Swayam Brahmavita Brahmaiva Bhavati. And Ashastriya Dvaitam, the classifications also he has given. Ashastriya Dvaitam, that also Tibram Mandamiti, Vida, Kamakrodadikam Tibram Manorajyam, Itaretate, those things. Further here discussions. For Jivan Mukti, one cannot, for Jivan Mukti, one cannot entertain the Kama, etc. All those things are discussed. Person continues to have desires for Vishayas, then he will become an object of Ninda, criticism, those things also are discussed. Therefore, finally, Jivan Mukti, that is the result. That is the result of this Viveka, that is the Palam. Understanding that Jiva system Dvaitam is the cause, and Jiva system, classifying the Jiva system Dvaitam into two, Shastriyam and Ashastriyam. In the beginning, Ashastriyam is given up, later Shastriyam also is given up, given with, after giving up, given Taha Bhave, given Muktaha Bhavejiti, given Muktehe Parakashta, Jiva Dvaita, Vivarjanat, Labhyate Aso, Ataha, Atra, here itself, Idam, Ishat Dvaitad Vivechanam. It is different from Ishvara Srishta Dvaita, Shiva Srishta Dvaita, which is Samsara Karanam. Karanam to be understood, then only one can look for the removal of it. That is the objective of this Rakaranam. Palam is given. Then finally, we saw Ahavakya Viveka Rakaranam, that Ahavakya is dealt with, is analyzed here. Each Mahavakya from each, one Mahavakya from each Veda is taken up, like the Tattva Samanvaya of the Brahma Sutra. The Tatparya of every Veda is the Aikya Jnanam Veda. Not each Veda has got one more Tatparya. That's why in Brahma Sutra we have Tattva Samanvaya. So all the Mahavakyas, we talk about the same thing, Aikya Jnanam, Jiva Brahma, Aikya Jnanam. Ahavakya is Jiva Brahma, Aikya Bodhaka Jnanam. Ahavakyam give rise to this Aikya Jnanam. Aikyam between the Jiva who considers himself to be a samsari and Ishvara who is ever asamsari. So Aikyam between the two. So therefore, Aikyam is, there is no difference, there is no Veda, there is no Dvaitam. Therefore, Akandartaka Bodhaka Vakyam, Aikya Bodhaka Vakyam, Mahavakyam. Mahavakyam is not Lakshana Vakyam. Brahma Lakshana Vakyams are there in the Shastra, that is different. Mahavakyam is Jiva Brahma Aikya Bodhaka Vakyam. Brahma Asti iti Vakyam. That Vakyam is from Mahavakyam. That Brahma Ahamasmi iti Vakyam, Mahavakyam. So from each Veda, one Vakyam was taken up, like Pragyanam Brahma from Aitariya Upanishad of Rig Veda, and Aham Brahmasmi from Shukla Veda, Pravadan Veda Upanishad, then Samavediya Chandogya Upanishad from that Tatvamasi Mahavakyam. And from Mandikya Upanishad, of Atharvavana Veda, I am Atma Brahma. 4 Mahavakyams. Each Mahavakyam discussed into 2 shlokas. So Aikyam presented in each Jiva and Ishvara. So Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi. Even though there are many Mahavakyas, these 4 Mahavakyas are famous Mahavakyas. Therefore, these are taken and Viveka and Mahavakya Viveka. Vivekaha is that Mahavakya Viveka Prakaram is completed. Next begins the Deepa Prakaranam, which consists of 5 chapters. Among the 5 chapters, the first chapter, that is the 6th chapter, is Chitra Deepa Prakaranam. This is a Brigat Prakaranam. There's got more than 200 shlokas, 250 to more than 250, which will begin the rest of us. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
धन्यवाद गुरुदेव. धन्यवाद शरद जी.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.